we're not here to say that there's like a right or wrong with how you should approach those things, but we wanted to talk about what it's like for us and talk about the importance of a strong marriage and how that can spill over to business and, you know, both sides of it, I guess.
Hey there, I'm Crista Vance, entrepreneur and operations leader.
And I'm Matt Vance, tech founder and author of The Review Cycle. This is The Culture Prophet.
We explore how strong workplace culture drives retention, reputation, and real business performance.
We talk with HR leaders, executives, and founders building people-first companies that actually win.
Production of The Culture Prophet is sponsored by Mobrium, the original employer reputation platform.
Mobrium helps employers take control of how their company shows up in AI search and on review platforms like Glassdoor and Indeed, turning employee feedback into stronger reputation, better hiring, and healthier culture.
Learn more at mobrium.com.
As many of you know, Matt and I are co-founders of the company Mobrium. Thought you'd find it really interesting to know that actually husband and wife co-founder teams are relatively common, with approximately 10% of US for-profit businesses owned by spouses. While some investors view them as risky due to potential conflict, many successful companies such as Eventbrite, Cisco, and Canva were actually started by married couples. They often display extreme efficiency, definitely,
100%.
but face unique challenges balancing personal and professional lives. And that is what we want to talk about today. So how do we make it work as husband and wife? A lot of people ask us that because marriage is hard, right? It's not something that just flows easily and perfectly, something you have to work at. And so involving the stress of starting a business and the finances that go with that and the decisions and potential disagreements can be tricky.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and honestly, thinking about this topic as part of our series, Building Mobrium, every 10th episode, we spotlight something on our personal journey of, being founders, as Crista said, co-founders as husband and wife, and just what we've been learning. And I've had friends who have told me they very much separate work and marriage, and that it works better for them to do it that way. And that's okay. We're not here to say that there's like a right or wrong with how you should approach those things, but we wanted to talk about what it's like for us and talk about the importance of a strong marriage and how that can spill over to business and, both sides of it, I guess. So
yeah. I wanted to share just a couple more kind of statistics about this, but over 297,000 US companies are jointly owned by spouses. I mentioned that investors kind of get nervous about that, but a lot of high-profile companies have actually been successful with the married founders. So some of the advantages: high trust, shared goals, and a shared long-term vision, which is something we'll share about today. And then some disadvantages like inability to separate personal and work issues, potential for high stakes conflicts and power dynamics. One little tip that I'll just give right off the bat: experts suggest avoiding the 50-50 stock splits to ensure clear decision-making authority. We'll get into that a little bit too.
Oh, we're going deep on this. No holding back.
There's 4 companies mentioned. Cisco Systems have a married couple, Eventbrite, Canva, House, and of these 4, 3 of them are still married. So I thought that would be interesting to share.
Is that above the average divorce rate? So that's like, that's a super
75%, but that's a really small sample size.
Yeah, that's a super small sample size. But.
Not sure on that. You'll have to do your own research there. But so is building a company together strengthening our marriage or testing it, Matt?
I think it's definitely strengthened our marriage. I think about, we've been married for almost 14 years next month, and we've done a lot of hard things, being parents. We have 5 kids. That's a really big one and significant part of our life. We've renovated our house. That was a huge multi-year project that required a lot of communication and a lot of work, a lot of give and take on designs. Like we built this built-in on like the entryway for like hanging coats and putting shoes and all this stuff. And I had an idea of what I thought was like perfect, and Crista had an idea of what she wanted. And the end result ended up being kind of a blend of the two. And both of us
agreed it was
Yeah.
better than what our original ideas had been.
Yeah. So like, to me, that was very representative of how we've worked on a business level, and doing that huge taxing project where, you know, we took down walls, we
And
changed floor
we were
plans.
living in the house that we were renovating, which is tricky too. I mean,
Yeah.
we slept in our living room, multiple different basement rooms,
Yep.
you know, just all over, all
Yep.
over, and had like the majority of our furniture in one room in our basement, and floor ripped up. We replaced subfloor. It's physically demanding. It's definitely demanding on time. We were balancing
Finances.
our kids at the same time. We had, you know, a lot of money that goes into those renovations. There were definitely some arguments that happened. It's just, you know, it's just how it goes. You're tired, you're stressed, you're probably hungry a lot of times because of just working so hard. And I remember one night we received a load of dirt on our front yard lawn. Well, it wasn't a lawn, it was just dirt.
Totally ripped up. Yeah.
And we received a dump truck load of dirt. And like, we put all our kids to bed that night, and we went out and shoveled dirt all over our yard.
So like midnight or 12:30.
It was like 12:30.
We had headlights on.
And it was raining a tiny bit too. So you know, the things that we did, we can look back and it's like, wow, that was awesome. But it was also like, how did we do that? I don't know how we managed that with our kids. It feels like that's something we could not do now, you know, but
Yeah.
and that's how the business is for sure too. You have your financial stresses, you have a lot of big decisions that you make that really affect each other and the business, and ways that he thinks it should be done and ways that I think it should be done. And hopefully, it's just like the built-in, we come out with our ideas blended and better than they were before.
Yeah, for me, I literally had zero reservations about launching a business with Crista as my wife, just from all the years of experience we'd had being married. But doing the house renovation was a very clear like case study that we could really do something hard. We could give and take, we could collaborate, we could balance the project management components of a long-term project and align on a vision. But also, I think, like for me, when we were dating, I remember the day that I wanted to tell Crista that I loved her. And that was like, boop, as soon as I knew that, I was like 100% committed. And, you know, pretty soon we got engaged and everything. And I never viewed our marriage relationship as something that was just there because it made sense. Like, I was committing to being a spouse to Crista forever, and that we're family now, and that doesn't get separated. And that's a little bit different view than maybe some people have of what the marriage relationship means. But for me, it was a permanent decision, for better or worse, you know, through health and sickness, all the things that they say.
Through business and not business.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, we've helped each other through some really hard things. Some days she's lifting me up, some days I'm lifting her up, but it's usually more her lifting me up, I guess. But at least, you know, with, yeah, I would say that happens more often. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had our renovation. We also Matt wrote the book, The Review Cycle, but I did all of his citations and really helped support the editing with that.
I couldn't have done that without
that was
Crista.
Another case study. So yeah, there really were no reservations when we started our business that we shouldn't work together or that we should keep them separate. I'm just gonna hop over to boundaries. Okay, so there have been times when like Matt starts talking about business at like 11 p.m. Like we're
I
literally about
figured you were
to,
going to bring this one up.
yeah, we're like literally about to turn the lights off and go to sleep. And he like, it just pops in his head and he starts talking about it. And I remember saying to him, like, okay, we need to have a boundary here where we do not talk about business after 10 p.m. And like, I think what I've just realized is it's case by case, and we really don't separate business and our marriage. We really don't. It's part of it. It's, you know, our business decisions can affect our marriage. Our marriage can probably affect our business too. But because we have such a good relationship and we've learned how to overcome disagreements and, you know, any contention, we've learned how to make it not affect each other negatively. But back to the boundaries, I think we've kind of just realized, like, if we don't want to talk about it because we're too tired or something, we just say it in that moment. Because we don't always follow that rule, and we go on dates and we talk about business, and it's our date night.
It's a big part of our life.
It's just a big part of our life, and we enjoy talking about it. There are times though where I'm like, Matt, I'm too tired to like even think about this right now, or explore this, or make a decision. So now's not the time. And it's okay to have those like in the moment boundaries. And if you feel like you want to have a boundary where that is never crossed, you can create that. We kind of have just realized that sometimes we are okay with talking business that late at night, and sometimes we're not. And so we just kind of respect each other's boundaries in the moment of how we're feeling. There's also times where, so one thing about us is Matt and I don't always work in the same vicinity. Matt has an office away from our home. We also have our at-home office. I typically am at home with able to be with our kids, be there when they get home from school, be that person for them. And Matt is more heavy focused on the business. And so that's kind of how we balance things. We both will work in the evenings together sometimes.
Not like every day, but just when the creative juices are flowing, or there's like something
pressing.
Something more urgent.
So anyways, that's just how we roll. We're not always together, and Matt, he'll like call me like 4 or 5 times in a day sometimes, and I just try to be, you know, responsive. But there are times where I'm like, Matt, the kids need me right now. They need my attention. And this is not something that I can like give you my attention on right now. And then it's just like, okay, we'll come back to it in a little bit, you know? So, or I'll call you back when I have a minute. And so that's just something you have to be like willing to communicate so often. And I think that's why, you know, our little research shared that husband and wife duos are so efficient. It's because we're just like with each other all the time. We're communicating all the time. And that constant communication keeps things moving forward. So,
And, you know, a couple of thoughts that I have based on what you're sharing here. One is, you know, I don't think there's anyone that I would want to have as my full-time co-founder partner for business other than Crista, because all of that trust and communication efficiency was already built in, where compared to, you know, maybe I go find some person to start a business with, who knows if their goals or vision changes down the line. But I had that foundation with Crista that I knew we already had a shared vision, and that even if the business pivoted on certain things as time went on, that we were already aligned on so many elements of how we wanted to live and everything we wanted to do, that we could achieve something really special with the business. Another thing that I wanted to bring up is how we've handled like loss, like when we make a mistake in business and we lose money. That's definitely happened. Before we started Mobrium, I tried an investment on something and lost a few $1,000s. It was legal. I'm not saying I did anything crazy, but you know, stock market, different things.
Cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it was cryptocurrency. And I felt horrible that money was gone, and it was like this weight on me. And it was something that it took me a while to get through, but Crista definitely helped me see, like, you learn and then you make it up somewhere else and you move forward.
It was money that we could lose. That's kind of the biggest investing tip is don't invest money in the stock market that you aren't able to lose.
Or a business idea or anything else. Like,
yeah.
You need to be like, it needs to be a calculated risk. So like, if you're listening to this and thinking, hey, maybe my wife and I should start a business, or my husband and I, your spouse, whatever. That's, we had planned for the time of when we would go all in on Mobrium, and we had a plan in place. And it doesn't mean that everything went perfectly, but we were as prepared as we could be given the scenario.
And in fact, let's talk about that. What did we think it would be like diving into full-time self-employment, Matt?
Well, I can tell you what I didn't anticipate, and that's how many things we would have to figure out. I mean,
just like how to get paid, like how we don't have direct deposit anymore. It's like, how do we get a customer to pay us?
Yeah, when we got our first customer, we were like, how do we ask them to pay us? It was just like,
we get money?
Okay, now we have to figure out invoicing. I would say we've taken the approach with business, just like with our home renovations, which is put the hole in the wall first and then figure out how to patch it after. So just jump in
the demo first,
and then, get to it after. Watch the YouTube video on how to patch the hole. We did that with business of like, let's just go until we get a customer. And as soon as someone says yes, then we're figuring out how to do the invoicing. There wasn't really a point in figuring out how to do an invoice before we needed to send one. And so, yeah, we've just done one thing at a time like that.
I think we definitely had this, secret vision in our heads of like, as soon as we quit our full-time job, the doors are going to be lined up with people to use our service, and we won't have to do a thing. The business will just come to us.
Yeah,
and
I thought I'd have 20 customers in 6 months. Yeah, no.
we definitely, you hear the self-employment or starting your own business is just this glamorous thing that turns into a unicorn, but that's not always the case. And for those that do, that's the minority for sure. But we kind of realized quickly that wasn't the case, and had to kind of adapt to that mindset of like, okay, we got to be in this for the longer haul and be okay with, not just suddenly being successful, but actually having to, you do your networking, your advertising, your marketing, and get your name out there. So,
yeah. And because we have that long-term vision, we've been okay with putting just about everything back into the business to make the software better, to do more marketing, go to events, to reach more people, and even at the expense of paying ourselves, where we've dipped into savings and that type of a thing, and learned to be really lean and find activities around town that are free to do with the kids and stuff like that, instead of some big vacation. Like, we've really had to be creative. And one of my favorite sayings is creativity loves constraints. So we've worked with constraints, which is forced creativity as far as how we run our family and household, and also the business, and giving priority to the business and certain things even above our household needs, because we believe in the future vision of where it's headed and what it can do. And we've already seen some pretty amazing results for clients, and we love our clients. We love working with them and supporting their success. But also it has to be something that makes sense for us in the long term. And we believe that that's the case. We just have to continue working the plan.
But as Matt mentioned, we did come into this experience with savings. And I think that's a crucial piece is that financial stress, that's probably one of the top. I actually did my degree in family consumer science with an emphasis on family finance. And we talked a lot about how finances are the top taboo topic to talk about for couples. A huge indicator for divorce when they have different, very different financial decision making or values, and just the financial stress can be a big cause for contention or lead to divorce. And so being prepared for that kind of jump of self-employment, of starting your own business, and being prepared for it to take 5 to 10 years for you to hit that sweet spot of business coming to you easily is what you need to do. And as Matt said, our strategy for the last 3 years has been putting everything back into the business. We're now getting to the point where, we have used up some of our savings and we're ready to start paying ourselves back a little bit. And so we're starting to make that transition. But because we were prepared for this jump, we were able to, actually invest all that back into the business and make our product, get our name out there, make our product as good as it could be. So,
yeah. And that's something we've had ongoing conversations about over the years. And as new information, new opportunities come up, then we're okay to pivot as needed on different decisions. I did want to talk about, I've definitely had people raise their eyebrows when they hear we have 5 kids and we're doing a business and podcasts and all the things. And, it's interesting. We got married relatively young. I was 23. Crista was 19 when we were married, and we went to California the very first summer we were married. And I remember I was knocking doors selling pest control, and some people would ask, they'd see my wedding ring. You're married? And it's like, yeah, my wife's 19. And then it was like, what that's crazy. But, I guess we just knew we wanted to be together, and why would we wait to fully commit to each other? And that was important from the very beginning. And I love being a dad. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes it's crazy, but most of the time it's amazing. And I think that's what life is all about, is prioritizing your family and let the other things work around that. Like, we've very much intentionally built ourselves into a business that supported the lifestyle that we wanted, to be able to be there as much as possible for our kids. Like, sometimes I'm here working at home and I can be there when they get home from school, and then I work a little bit in the evenings, or, we have some flexibility with that. It doesn't mean that there's less work to do. There's still a lot to do, but just intentionally designing the life that we wanted. And for us, we always knew we wanted to have a larger family, and it's been amazing. And yeah, there are expenses that come with kids and other stresses, but as soon as you hold that little baby in your arms, there's nothing better. And then seeing them grow and being able to roughhouse with them, at least for me, when they get a little bigger, is always so fun. And then seeing them learn and grow and experience new things, seeing the world through a child's eyes, is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think the top recommendation I would give to married couples that are trying to start a business together or are already doing that is commitment. Matt mentioned that we just, there's no back door that we ever look at. We never say the D word, divorce. We never even cross that. We are committed to each other. We are devoted, we're loyal to each other, and we're also committed to this business. And that shared vision, that shared goal, it's our business, is what keeps it going and what keeps our marriage strong. And, I mentioned that, our research recommended that you do 50-50 or avoid doing 50-50 for your business ownership, your
Yeah,
stock
equity
ownership.
split.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to just share what we do, and I might get some flack for this, but but Matt actually owns 100% of the company on paper. And the reason that we've chosen to do that is there are some tax reasons and just like liability reasons, but also it just the number doesn't really matter to us. And it's like a paperwork change that we just don't feel is very important, because we're in this together. Our money, the way we pool our money, is all of his money is my money is his money.
We're just one unit for that, is what it comes to.
All of our money goes into one account, and yeah, that's just how we do things. And I don't think there's one right way to do things, but certainly, women, we don't need to be like, I need 50% because I'm part of this. Like, I don't think we need to, be that way. And honestly, for investors, it's going to be better for us in the future to
it's
have
more
that
attractive, at least from
one
conversations
person
we've had
owner.
with investors. Yeah, to have one person with 100%. But that's honestly, that's a smaller detail to the larger conversation. Yeah.
But I will say it is important to have one person that kind of does get the final say, because you have to keep moving the business forward. You can't get stuck on one decision. And this business is Matt's brainchild. It really is. And I've always just been a high supporter for him. And so
it's kind of like, you have to have a pilot and a co-pilot. If you have two pilots with the exact same authority on every decision, then you could have some analysis paralysis when some certain decision comes up. And we overlap. Like, I'm number one on the business, number two on the family. Krista's number one on the family, number two on the business. That doesn't mean one's more important than the other, but it means we have a shared vision and also some specialization to help us achieve a greater amount of success in both fields. Essentially, Crista drives so many things that I would not be very good at when it comes to family, and also her responsibilities in the business when it comes to the finance side and other things. Like, she's unlocked doors that I don't think I could have, and she's been able to do things that I don't think I could do. And I think the same goes where I have a specialty that, I've worked really hard to obtain, and that's one of my unique adds to the business. One other thing I did want to mention is, we're also Christian, and so our faith in Jesus Christ is a core piece of our marriage relationship, and that totally spills over to our business. That, we strive to live principles that are aligned with Christianity and with good ethics, and we believe that is beneficial to the business and to our marriage. We're definitely not perfect. We make a lot of mistakes, but we're not saying we're doing things every day to try to move things forward to produce the best results for our clients and for our family and for the business, and for each other. We definitely have to make time for each other, which we do. We do the fun date nights. So
anyways, we would love to hear your thoughts, your comments. What has worked well for you in your marriage, whether you're working together on a project, a home renovation, or a business? Love to hear from you, and follow us for next episode.
Yep. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to The Culture Prophet.
If this episode gave you a useful idea, share it with a leader building a better workplace.
Production of The Culture Prophet is sponsored by Mobrium, helping employers to employ feedback into stronger culture and reputation.
Learn more at mobrium.com.
Until next time,
go find one way to prioritize your people and watch your profits grow.